Hey, man. Hey, okay, over here. Look. Right here. Sorry if it's a little... wonky. There you go, cat. You want some more? Come get some. Right here. Here, come here.
I like his little half mustache. It's so cute.
Yeah. Come here. Come here. Look, look. Come on. He was trying to get into the bag in a second, like last second there. You wanna come? Here. Psst. Come here. Come here. Oh, come here, you little punk. That's good. Alright. We were also rather entertained, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 5. Five. Anyway. A friendly hearth. And since the request has been made, Grayce, would you be so kind as to narrate?
Sure. In the light of day, Darnacroy House might be perfectly welcoming. That offers little comfort at the moment, however, as its high stone walls come into view. In 15th century fashion, the dark walls look down on the approach, and all traffic must pass through a gatehouse. Someone with no sense of architectural fashion has made alterations, though, not going to great effort to add a thorny tangle of spikes along the edge of the roof. They keep the birds away, says Lady Reeves. Sophia, nodding up at them. Father told me that crows used to gather here at dusk, and their cries drove grandfather half mad. They don't come here any longer. Nothing does, so far as you can tell. The road is barely rutted from travel, and the gatehouse is abandoned. The carriage stops outside, and you can hear the driver thump down to the ground. A moment later, the gates creak open, protesting the unfamiliar use. As soon as the carriage rolls into the courtyard, Reeves is up and out the door. As her servants are conspicuously absent, she holds a hand out to help you down. Come along, Alexander. It isn't safe to be out here at night. Not for you. Well, that's comforting. But she's right, though she may not have anticipated quite what happens next. The moment you step down from the carriage, you find yourself swept in the maelstrom of spiritual energy. You grasp one firm thought: this shouldn't be possible, before 1,000 other voices obliterate your very self. Someone is here listening, and is listening. Someone can hear us. 1,000 voices cry out, but only one consumes you.
Wow. Alright. Please, you have to help me. Please, I beg you. My children! Have you seen my children? I want to go home. Why can't I leave? Let me leave, god damn you! The sky opened up, and the great eye of heaven peered down. You have to let me die. It's the only way. I need to let go. What voice consumes us, I wonder?
Didn't you say that all the spirits were up here? You called it.
Oh yeah, I kind of figured it. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it is about a haunted house, so I just assumed, like, there's got to be a fulcrum of spiritual energy somewhere. I'm a classic, so... Alright. Number 5 has it. You have to let me die. It's the only way. I need to let go. What or why? Your eyes are too heavy to open, and your breath barely moves in your shattered chest. It would be so easy to sleep, and maybe then you could die at last. That wouldn't be so bad, and then the weight wouldn't be yours to carry. But you've tried that 100 times, 1,000. You've tried to let go and drift away, and they keep dragging you back because you have to keep serving. You can never. Hey. Oops, sorry about that. The thoughts shatter into pieces, and you can't find the thread of them with someone gripping the back of your neck. Snapping fingers in front of your eyes, like they're just trying to be the most irritating person in all of Christendom. Which, whose thought was that? You are you. Again, yes. With great effort, you create a narrow space for yourself that's free of all this untethered energy, pushing the foreign thoughts away. You seem to have fallen as Reeves is crouched next to you. She tugs you up into a half-seated swoon and is peering intently into your eyes while she holds your eyelids open. This one is on the house. Thanks for the hydro, man.
Hydration station.
Mm-hmm. All right. You shake her hand away, and she breathes a great sigh of relief.
Sensitive, are you?
She asks, helping you up to your feet. She brushes the side of your head, and a few clods of dirt fall free.
I mean no offense.
She carries on.
It's a good trait in someone with your talents. Darnacroy can be overwhelming even to those who don't sense the strangeness here. You'll feel better when we get you inside.
Reeves leads you toward the main doors with a firm hand between your shoulders. I must apologize for collapsing like that. There's still so much to explore out here. I'll feel much safer on the other side of those doors. I'd very much like to investigate those spirits more thoroughly, despite the risk. Well, I'm just kind of...
number one.
Yeah. There's no option to peace out, so...
Yeah, because we're a simple medium. We don't want her to know we're investigating, so 4 would be pretty dangerous, and so would number 2, I feel.
Yeah.
And number 3 is just a little cowardly, so...
Yeah, I think the gentlemanly thing to do would be to, Yeah, to do. I must apologize for collapsing like that. Mittens, Cam. I could do that. Actually, it might be good to just take a quick break.
Mittens!
Yeah, take a quick break for the washroom anyway, and then I can go and try and locate our friend Mittens and see what happens.
I'm gonna take Echo outside real quick then, too, while we're taking a little break.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys back here in about 5. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the den.
This is a good thing we got going.
Good. I think we're ready to go.
All right, I'm gonna take this one.
Sure.
Okay. 2 courtyards have defeated you in as many days. Shame burns hot in your gut at the thought. Your unique talents are ordinarily such a boon, but here they've made you a burden.
My apologies, Lady Reeves. I am not usually so easily overcome.
Sophia, and if you would only get inside, she says, making an obvious effort to remain pleasant, we could prevent such a thing from happening again. She puts her weight into dragging the great door open. You wonder at the lack of servants. There was a driver, but he's vanished unseen. You've spotted no grooms or footmen, and it's exceedingly odd that no one has come out to greet her. Of course, your entire association with Sophia has been a bit out of the ordinary, but she stands there gesturing you in, and ordinary or not, it won't do to keep a baroness waiting.
Indeed, I agree. For a moment, all you feel is relief. When Reeves secures the door behind you, that infernal pressure eases. Not enough that you can let down your guard, but enough that you don't need to give most of your attention to defending yourself. The hall is warm and spacious, if dimly lit. With a few adjustments, it could be comfortable. It could almost be comfortable. Almost. An ostentatiously large portrait of a stern-looking man greets you. It seems to glare down at you in judgment from its place above the wide fireplace.
Father,
Reeves explains.
Everyone always asks about the portrait. It's a family tradition of sorts. I suppose I'm meant to get one done of myself now that he's gone, but I haven't had the heart.
This must be Lord Nathaniel Reeves, then. His air hardly favors him at all, aside from the set of their shoulders and the strong lines of their jaws. The former Baron is rigid, with pallid skin and a shuttered expression. Sophia is relaxed, with skin that's a healthy, rich brown and an insouciant smile. I don't know how to say that one. The heart of the house. Dun dun dun. Nice. Something else in the portrait captures your attention, too. A deep weariness in the Baron's eyes. The portraitist must have been skillful to capture it. You look around the rest of the hall, though it has little to recommend it. A magnificent stairwell curves up behind both sides of the fireplace, but Sophia gestures to a small door off to the side.
Join me in the solar. I'm afraid we rarely entertain, but it's comfortable enough in there.
Sure enough, the room is much less intimidating than the main hall. The light is a mellow gold, the smells of warmth and beeswax. The walls are crowded with shelves of books. A small fire burns in the grate, and a pair of armchairs is set up before it. You sink into one once the Baroness takes the other, and you feel absurdly grateful for its plush warmth after another exhausting day. Reeves notes your weariness with a resigned half-smile. She slumps back into her chair.
I had hoped there'd be a stimulating evening of discourse ahead, but Darnacroy's whims have once again interfered with my plans, haven't they?
What exactly are these whims of which she speaks? And how stimulating would they be? Can we continue this in the morning? I'm exhausted. There's no time like the present, and I'll recover. I'm just going to check our character sheet just because I'm actually curious how messed up we are. Wow, our investigation's jacked up now. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're down to 82 will. That's not bad. It would be safe to dare the
Ooh, we
spirit world
lost
to do its
some will.
works. Yeah. Well, I was wondering how much we got, like, blasted from that. Okay. I mean, I don't know. 82% will seems fairly reasonable to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. After all, we do have some stuff to get to the bottom of. I don't think I'll be so bold as to say that, but there's no time to... Like, the present is kind of what I'm leaning towards. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that one. Because the other one's, like, really, really flirtatious. But if we do the third one, it's like...
I think this is a good middle ground where it's like, okay, well, I'm not actually here just to bed you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it also is like, well, I'll still play to her desire to supposedly discourse. So we'll go safely with that. So I can hardly wait to learn more about Darnacroy. If you
say?
My little episode outside only makes me more curious. I should like to discover its secrets, or as many of them as you'll allow. In fact, I'm not particularly tired. Could we start now?
She laughs. You certainly are eager in your work. While there are some answers we might be able to assist each other with, I'm afraid we can't start just yet. As you saw, Darnacroy is far from safe to explore at night. It will have to wait until morning. With that, Sophia steers the conversation into lighter territory. You find yourself drawn to her despite your reservations. There's something unusually compelling about her, though nothing you could put your finger on as being unnatural. Perhaps it's just that she's a great wit and a gracious host. As the night wears on, she tells a number of fantastical tales, with tantalizing threads that could almost hint at a mysterious at the mysteries here, but never quite enough for you to grasp anything of value. At least you needn't invent any stories of your own. After a short time, you notice a tray has arrived laden with tea and biscuits, wine, and brandy. Sophia takes only the latter, inviting you to enjoy anything that you want.
Yeah, I'm kind of on par with Cap here. Taking brandy might be a good idea. Even though it's like strong drink and stuff.
Right. I do also want to point out, too, I know he said that vampires are like fake and all that, but she hasn't eaten anything, and she's only drinking. Could she be particularly
the only
mystical?
thing that makes me think that potentially is the canine comment. There's a canine on her lip kind of thing. Like, it's a very specific thing to say.
I also get that vibe too from right now her skin is really alive and rich and everything, but the picture of her father was like sunken and everything, and then that one ghost that we found, she was also like sunken in and everything. I'm not saying it is vampires, but I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably go against the vampires just because it doesn't seem like there's anything preternatural about her in the ability to seduce you. It's just that she's like, there's nothing that comes off as like so good that it can't possibly be real, which is how vampires are usually described anyway. I'm feeling more werewolf. Maybe, yeah. I mean, she could be some kind of fantastic creature of some kind, but I don't get vampire specific.
I don't get, like that's what I mean. Like, I don't get that she's human or that there's nothing going on, that she's just a baroness. Like, there's definitely something here, especially if people are scared and don't often come back from the manor.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not quite sure what else she could be. Like, maybe she, like, yeah, I'm not sure. She's a beauty on the outside, but like the beast on the end. Yeah, like it could be. My suspicion is that she actually might be like drawing strength or like even potentially immortality from the spirits in the area. Or something like that.
And that's why they can't leave, because she's got them trapped for that reason.
Yeah, like she's physically, like she's imbibed them somehow. So it's still similar to a vampire, but it'd be more like almost like a witch or a banshee or something like that that's capable of draining. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'm just speculating.
That was a tangent. Yeah.
Speculation.
All right, brandy it is.
Yeah, I think we'll go with brandy. I'm fine with that. Mostly because that's what she's drinking, and it's better to. It's called mirroring, right? Like, the best social tactic you can do to make people like you, from a psychological point of view, is to do what they're doing, so that you make as many positive connections between you as possible. So, anyway. She watches you while you make your selections, a thoughtful smile teasing the corners of her lips.
I do hope you'll have the chance to meet Lauren. The two of you will suit nicely, I expect. They love to hear of the world beyond these walls.
They? Sophia touches her fingers to her full lips, at a momentary loss for words.
I forget at times how far our customs diverge from the rest of England. Allow me to put it like this. Lauren is one of many people in this town who believe that one's sex is one's own business and prefer to keep it to themselves. I'll ask you respect that as long as you remain here.
The sternness in her expression leaves no doubt that she'll enforce that request if needed. With that, she steers the conversation back to familiar territory. She's in the midst of an animated story of her first time riding when you hear a loud noise from the main hall. She stops mid-sentence, and her expression goes flat.
Pardon me, Alexander. I need to take care of something.
As an afterthought, she adds,
I'll return shortly.
She stalks out.
Where have you been?
is all you hear from her before the door clicks shut. If you aren't mistaken, her tone is angry. Listening at the door seems safe enough. Maybe they won't notice if I open the door a crack. Oh, I won't be left behind in the salon so easily. If I bury my attention in the bookshelf, I may be able to avoid eavesdropping.
So, snooping. All of these options are snooping.
I like the surreptitious potential of browsing the bookshelf as well as looking at what's available, so I think I'm probably just going to choose that. Because everything else is like, I don't know, it's like cartoon, like tiptoeing and like, it's like, nah, it's just kind of silly.
It also might piss her off because she told us to stay here. So if we stay here and look at the bookshelf, then it's like, oh, well, we were just bored because you weren't here.
I am still hoping like we like move closer to the door to find a book kind of thing than just just go and find books. But there is a chance to actually see what possible research and stuff is here too. So who knows what we see, if you will.
Reeves has quite the collection, though her interest seems to lie mostly with novels. Her tastes are similar to Dev's, in fact. Jules Verne features prominently, as does the American poet Poe. You spot a familiar volume, The Castle of Otranto, and slide it free. It looks unread. Passable work, as you recall, but its occult elements were laughable. As you thumb through it, you can't help but hear the snatches of an argument through the door. Most of the words you hear are muffled, but you pick up a few angry phrases. Prepare for the ball. Oh, that might be... Oh, it's Oriana.
No, it's Oriana.
Oriana's, okay. Prepare for the ball, growls a familiar voice. Oriana's, you think. We don't need more guests, Sophia shouts at one point. Then, from Oriana, the house suffers. Finally, from Sophia in perfect clarity. Oriana, leave him be. If you wish for my obedience, Oriana says from just outside, you know what you must do. The door creaks open, and you hear her soft and incredulous laugh behind you. Oh, are you not the most dutiful guest, reading quietly to yourself with no concern for the fuss outside? I am impressed, but we both know that you heard more than you would have wished. You try to deny it, but she just raises a hand to forestall you. She carries on. I do apologize. Her ladyship has no sense of propriety, quite despite my ceaseless efforts. You wait for her to continue, but she just stands in the doorway watching. You feel like an actor waiting for his cue, but there isn't one forthcoming. I think this one's you.
Yeah. Is there something I can help you with, then?
Oh, I only wish to ensure you are well, she says, then lowers her voice conspiratorially. Her ladyship can be a brute at times, and I would hate to believe I led you to any harm. I did not expect her to drag you back to this awful place with such efficiency.
Yeah, that comment about being a brute is interesting.
And didn't she want us to come back
I know. Here? Yeah, like she wanted us to meet her, so it's like she kind of seems a little bipolar, so so it's like, okay, well, although usually they don't switch that fast from experience. I don't need her concern, but I'd love to know more about her. She must know all about Reeves. Perhaps she can tell me about her. If she's in danger here, I can help her. See, that's not what it seemed to me, this conversation, at all. It seemed like this is sort of like a feral servant that is bound, or that is like purchased in some sense.
Right, like, and the inn lady did say it was her pet. She called Oriana the pet.
See, it's interesting because I didn't see like outward hostility the first time we met her, but now she seems to be like the most unhinged.
Because the house needs to be fed or something, it said.
Yeah.
The house suffers.
The house suffers. Yeah, it sounds like she's like the If anything, she sounds like a loyal guard to the house more than she is of like a direct follower of this lady kind of thing. So interesting.
And she had said, if you wish for my obedience, you know what you must do, which makes me think that there's some sort of compulsion aspect.
I was thinking it's got to be some kind of sacrificial thing, like you give me blood or you give me something, or even the house something because she's a servant of the house, kind of thing, right? She's like a vassal essentially. So the question is, do we want to? I don't think she's in danger. I think she is a danger, so I don't care about that one. I don't need her concern. I'd love to know more about her. Do we try and learn more about this sort of psycho chick? Or do we try and get her to tell us more about Reeves? I feel like this is going to be tainted. Like the way she's describing her or talking to her, it's potentially going to be like very biased, although that might not be a terrible thing, but if she's...
Maybe let's roll the die on it. I'm torn.
That sounds good. 1d4. Oh yeah, for those who don't know. We roll the dice and ties. Yeah, okay. I guess we'll listen to her talk about Reeves. At least it'll still be telling whether she, like... Because no matter what, she gives information about herself the way she talks about Reeves, but also potentially information about Reeves. So we're kind of
Cap says, asking someone about themselves turned out so well last time.
Point is very well taken, sir. Very well taken. You and Lady Reeves... You and Lady Reeves have shared a long acquaintance, then? You ask, hoping that she will not mind the question.
Long enough for us to argue with such familiarity, you mean? Indeed we have. I have served her since I was quite young, and I was here for much of her ladyship's youth.
She straightens items on the shelf, seemingly at random as she speaks. What can you tell me about her?
Likely more than I ought to share. Oh, sorry.
It's fine. She shrugs.
Likely more than I ought to share. I should say that you should mind her temper, I suppose. You would do well to keep yourself safer than I have.
You fumble for the right response to her despondent confession. Before you can speak, she sighs.
My generous nature seems to have failed me tonight. Pay me no mind. You have had a difficult time as well, have you not? Her ladyship seems to have quite forgotten about you. In fact, it looks as if she has retired for the night. I shall summon Godfrey, and please do not mind him. He can be overzealous in his service. If you need anything further, inform him. The house provides.
She sweeps out of the room, coolly and deliberately severing your ability to continue the conversation. Whatever intrigue you've wandered into, it would seem that Darnacroy's occupants care little for traditions of hospitality. And then we come to another chapter after all. It's just Dev's wig. Devin a wig. Nice. Yeah, that seemed really fast as well.